Yeah, I'm not alone.
No, Mike's right there.
Yeah.
Ew.
A modern podcast where Chris and Mike talk about TV, movies, superheroes, and everything in between. It's time for Superhero Slate.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris Dillard,
And my name's Mike Royer.
and this is the spoiler cast for Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Nothing superhero related whatsoever.
I guess we also just like wizards and everything in between.
Yeah.
But we have a very special spoiler cast, a very full spoiler cast packed. If you're listening to this, it might sound like you're in a room just chocked full of people because not only do we have one special guest, but we have two special guests.
Two.
And I'll introduce the person sitting to my right, which would be my lovely and beautiful wife, Andy Royer.
Hello.
Boo, boo. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
Boo on you, Chris.
I say that out of love. I was out of love. I was saying boo earns.
Oh, boo earns. Okay.
Right.
They're saying boo earns.
But, okay, well, then in that case, if that's your introduction, then I will introduce the woman to my right, my lovely and beautiful wife, Rachel.
Hello, yay me.
Yes, and we have these these lovely ladies on this on this specific spoiler cast for a very specific reason, as they're self-proclaimed. What do you call yourself? Potheads, Harry
I
Potter.
do not call myself a pothead. I
fanatics?
loathe that name.
Potterheads is what I've heard.
No.
Yeah.
I simply. What's here? What's the best way to put it?
You're a
If I wasn't married to you, I would love to marry the books.
Oh, geez, yeah, you would marry a book.
That sounds like a great episode of Jerry Springer.
Yeah. So if
You are not the father. No.
So if this was like a title fight, I would say the credentials under your belt is you constantly say you have read the books many times. The first book, I think you say you have read 15 times.
I have. I've read the first book alone 15
and
times.
that's not even an exaggeration.
No, that's the exact count.
Yeah,
I've actually started at a 16th, but I have not finished
you've
it
seen
yet.
the movie several times. I've
seen the movie a buttload, but I don't keep count of the movies because they're not as good as the books.
Well,
that's just
you're like a midnight release book person back in the day. So when the books came out, it was mainly the chunk of them before I met you. So I don't know what you were like when the books were coming out, but I'm sure you wouldn't have talked to me much because you would have been too busy.
I didn't talk to many people. Oh, that's not true.
It
Depending
had just
on
been
the
one
year.
day. She probably would have finished them in one day.
Yeah, probably.
Oh yeah, I had them. I used to carry them around campus at Purdue,
Yeah.
and people would be like, "Why are you carrying those giant books?" Because I'm reading them.
So
All
you
7
also-
of them?
No, just whichever
Oh.
one was out at the time, whichever one I happened to be reading at the time.
Not just 7. You've read The Cursed Child. You also have all those tinier books under your belt.
Please, can
The one this movie is based
the
on?
tales,
Yeah.
the tales of Beetle the Bard,
Yeah,
Fantastic
Beetle the
Beasts and
Bard,
Where to Find Them,
Fantastic
Quidditch
Beasts.
Through the Ages.
Do you have any of the
Have them
coloring
all.
books?
I do.
Okay, I got
Yeah,
my
she
wife
does.
coloring books over here.
I also have a couple of different books on the movies. One is like this gigantic book that's full of like they're basically posters that you can pull out that are of the images from a couple of the different movies. I have a gigantic, it's a massive book about the making of like all the movies. It goes into like really, really great detail about like the sets and how they were made and the scripts and just the different characters that were designed. And then I even have the cookbooks too.
So
the unofficial Harry Potter cookbook.
It's safe to say that you know what you're talking about. So what kind of credentials do you got over there on your side of the microphone, Chris?
Well, we have the books, and my wife is an English teacher. So, how many pop vinyls you got? That's the real question.
Well, we don't
do pop vinyls.
Yeah,
in
this
this
is not a
house.
pop vinyl household,
No.
unlike you guys.
Well, how many pop vinyls we have?
I don't know. I've lost it. But the very
Like all
important
of
thing
them.
about our Harry Potter books is that all of them are in hardback and they all
Yeah,
match.
we did.
very
They do all match. And also, if I could have, I would have brought my newest sister-in-law in. My brother's wife is a big Harry Potter person as well.
Yes.
But
Gotcha.
She and I grew up together on the books coming out. We did the midnight releases just like Andy. We went to Borders and got our copy.
no, you're
read them all
talking
the
your
night
sister.
before.
I'm talking my brother's wife.
It's the same person.
My brother's wife.
Oh, Allison. Okay, yes.
Not your
Whatever.
sister.
Everyone, all the girls in the family
our
are Harry
family's
Potter
growing,
obsessed.
yeah. So
Yeah, I think it's safe to say it wouldn't have been hard to find super fans of this movie and this universe. But I bring this up because maybe not as much of a surprise to Andy, since I kind of let the secret loose, is after we talk about the movie, I'm going to give these two ladies a Harry Potter quiz,
Oh, God.
if you will. I think we're going to do it. You're each going to get your own 5 questions, and it's going to be the best of those 5, whoever answers the most.
Now,
So,
is this 5 different questions for each of us?
yeah,
or are they the
you're all-
same 5?
You're gonna have different questions because I don't want to deal with like a buzzer or a timer or writing stuff
Okay,
down.
good.
like Trivial Pursuit.
Yeah, it's gonna be kind of like Trivial Pursuit.
Am I allowed to answer her questions, but not on the mic?
Oh,
Just to see if...
I see. Well,
See if I
if
get
you
them,
want
Like
to
write
get
them
more,
down and then see if you got them
Yeah.
right.
if
Yeah.
you want to give yourself some street cred, I think we'll believe you. Just be honest. See if you knew the question or not. There'll be multiple choice, but that'll be after we talk about the movie. So we'll get to see who is.
Now I'm nervous.
We'll get to see who is the biggest Harry Potter fan based on a very unscientific quiz that I googled.
Come on. It's got to be me, right? I mean, I bought the first book in
Ooh,
Italian.
talking smack already.
It's got to be
Wow.
me, because I went and hunted down the first book, mint condition,
Talking
before
smack.
any of the other
Well,
books were
I
out.
certainly
It
hope.
has
Finding the
special
books
print-
doesn't mean you know the books.
Yeah, possession does not
that's
mean
true.
intelligence.
It's true. But I have the second Chamber of Secrets, the first print of that, there was a mistake in it. In the back of the book, there's a word mistake.
Such
and
a
I
nerd.
have the book with the mistake in it, because after they caught it, when they went to run more books and print more, they changed it. So if you have one of those original ones, they're worth like
An
a
extra
butt ton of
$1.
money.
Well, I like
Butt ton.
I like the smack talk. That's very
Really, I'm just excited.
pleasantly starting to drop.
Yeah.
So
I
He-
want it to
here's-
be me. I
Here's
want
a
to
fun
win.
fact, because Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, as we're going to talk about starting now, has very little to do with Harry Potter. So
It's true. It is a
that's one
prequel.
thing I
well,
learned.
not even a prequel. I hate the term prequel for that. But
It is very much a prequel, but I think so.
not.
Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them came out a couple weeks ago now. I mean, it's not new, it's not fresh.
November
And,
18th.
And yes, there we go. And it's out. People have seen it. Mike, Andy, what did you think of the movie?
Well, I think I definitely need to preface this whole conversation. It's very good that we have some extra hitters on this podcast, because usually when we talk about these spoiler casts, we kind of talk about our movie going experience. So I kind of need to let loose that when we went and saw the movie the other night, I was down with a pretty bad cold. And on top of that, really
Down
bad
with the
jet
sickness.
lag. It's a very, very bad combination. So this is not towards the quality of the movie, but I caught myself falling asleep a couple times during the movie.
I'm embarrassed.
Mainly because I was just super tired. I've been like falling asleep at like 7 o'clock like every night for the whole week. So it's been really, really bad. So when I talk about the movie, I'm just going to specifically talk about the parts I was very much awake for. So
He missed out on some really major key points.
Yes.
I would like to say that, because I had to try to fill him in on the car ride home.
So it's good that
he
she
was like,
was there.
wait, but why didn't they talk about this? And I was like, they did. More than once.
Yeah, so I'll talk about just from what I remember. It's definitely a movie I'm going to have to see again. But from my point of view, I thought obviously the movie looked great. This is coming off of the same director that gave us our last couple Harry Potter movies from a few years ago. So you're very much getting the same look and feel. So it definitely feels like you're in the same universe, obviously a different time period. So you're going to have that same kind of, I guess, Harry Potter vibe and feel when you're watching the movie, which I thought was really, really good. You're getting totally different characters for sure. You do get some hints of some other characters that have been talked about in the movies before. We've said Dumbledore is going to be popping up in some of the other movies, so we're getting a whole new cast of characters here. So I genuinely liked them. They were pretty good. Eddie Redmayne played a really good what was his name again, babe? Newt. That's right. See, this is why you ladies are here, because I fell asleep during the movie. So I thought.
How did you miss his name?
I thought
It's not only all over the movie; it's on the front of the book.
Yeah, so I thought he was I thought he played a pretty good Newt. I liked his sidekick friend, the portly fellow with
the guy from
mustache.
Balls of Fury.
Yes, everybody seemed to really respond
Jacob,
to him.
I believe was his name.
In the theater. I thought the beasts were cool. You know, this is a movie called Fantastic Beasts, so I enjoyed those. I don't know. It's really hard for me to talk about this movie, so I'm just going to go ahead and let my wife tell me what she thought, because she did not fall asleep in the movie, and she is a huge mega fan, so take it away.
Okay, well, I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was very well done. I really enjoyed not only like the storylines and stuff, but just basically the overall look of it was fantastic. Ha! Fantastic. That's funny. Sorry.
I see what you did there.
On accident. I really enjoyed the way it definitely falls into, you know, the whole magical realm. I wouldn't call it a prequel. A prequel would be it was a lead up to what would be happening in the Harry Potter movies, when it's not. It just happens to be in the same magical universe, which is why I don't agree with the term prequel for this, because this happens many years before anything in Harry Potter does, and it's not what leads up to Harry Potter. It's not. It's totally different. So calling it a prequel is...
But this is the first of 5 movies that will lead into the characters that lead into Harry Potter.
This is the first of 5 movies, but the thing is, they're not... This is not a prequel. Maybe if when you get maybe more towards those other, maybe movie 4, maybe movie 5, as they actually start finding parts that actually match up with the Harry Potter movies, then maybe you can call those a prequel. But this was not. This did not touch on Harry Potter. This was totally separate. So I don't like calling this one a prequel. I don't agree with that term, you know. And that's neither here nor there. The point is that the movie was very, very well done. I loved that they had David Yates come back and you know, deal with everything, and he did such a good job, and JK wrote a fantastic script for it again. You know, she always does, though. So I was very happy with it. I really enjoyed myself. I still can't believe you fell asleep during it multiple times.
Well, you know what you're dealing with me during the week. I was
I know,
not
but
in the best of sorts.
still, I was also very, very jet lagged, and I could not have fallen asleep if I wanted to.
Well, you're a better woman than I.
I know. You're a terrible woman.
I can attest to that.
Right? I know. But yeah, so overall, I really loved it. I really thought it was done very, very well.
Okay. All right. Wife of mine, what did you think of the movie? She's not very keen on talking about movies, so
I'm not.
we're gonna coax her out a little bit.
I'm very comfortable talking around, 10-year-olds, as that is my profession. But if it's any sort of talking with adults, I kind of
just pretend that we're 10.
Yeah, I act like it most of the time, so.
I agree a lot with what Andy said. I really enjoyed watching it. I feel like they did a really good job of establishing the wizard world. I liked how they talked about the differences in magical policy between different countries. I thought that was a really interesting twist.
Very interesting.
And I mean, that's pretty much my opinion. I thoroughly enjoyed watching it. I cannot wait until I get a chance to watch it again. As soon as I get a chance, I will watch it immediately. And I can't wait to see where they're going with the next movies to tie everything together. I feel like it did a really good job at waiting for the next one.
Rachel, have you bought they actually print the screenplay into a book form?
I have seen it, but I haven't bought it yet.
I haven't bought it yet either, but it looks just incredible. I'm dying to have it.
Okay. All right. So I am probably more of the odd person out here. I could care less about this movie. I could also
Get out.
I could care more. The problem is the movie title is not the movie. They took the little bitty book and gave a movie title to this, and
but the book is a textbook.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is essentially a monster manual of the Harry Potter world.
No, it's not. That's the Monster Book of Monsters. That's a totally separate book. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is not a manual. It is basically an introductory guide to the different creatures that are found within the magical realm.
So that's a monster manual.
Laying down the smackdown.
That's a monster manual in
it's
Dungeons
not.
and Dragons world. Like that's exactly what that equates to.
Well, I'm sorry, this isn't Dungeons and Dragons.
No, it is Dungeons and Dragons.
No, don't you dare make
get
that
out of here with
reference.
that. No.
Man, this is getting
It
heated.
is.
All right, Let's let everybody say their
This
piece
is gonna be
first.
a bloodbath.
All right, let's
against-
let everybody
with me
say
and
their.
Rachel
Like,
against
I'm not here to
Chris.
argue like if it's a good movie or not. I just think this movie, what happens in this movie does nothing for the next four. And
You don't know that. You don't know what the next four are about.
it's all this. Well, neither do you, so you can't tell me I'm wrong. So
I
feel
will though.
this whole thing was to show that Gellert Grindelwald was the leader of these, was in charge somehow of all these things. And to me, I don't care if I watch it again or not. I feel the same about Harry Potter movies sometimes, though. This one is a good evolution of the other, I guess, 8? So this is like the 9th movie, technically, in this world.
But this movie wasn't really about Grindelwald. It was more of an introduction to who he is. This was definitely a focus on Newt and on the differences between America.
And that's fine, and that may be your point, but my point is, to me, who doesn't live Harry Potter, it doesn't do anything for me. Like, it's great. There are magic beasts. It looks pretty. It fits the 1920s world very well. The character is charming. Eddie Redmayne, he pulled a Doctor Who for most of it. And that was really about it. At the end, it wasn't a surprise. There's a green screen, Johnny Depp with somebody else, and that was it. At the end of the day, I don't know what the next ones are going to be. Whatever. That's my point. I just didn't.
The other 4 movies are definitely going to be way more about Grindelwald and everything that basically went down with him through time. I guess obviously pre-Harry Potter. Between him and Albus, they had a relationship between the two of them. It's definitely going to hit on how they had started with a friendship, how that kind of blossomed into more of a relationship, and how Grindelwald basically kind of
and that's cool. But
thoughts on
I
society
want to talk about this
crazy
movie
way.
here. Let's bring
Right.
it back to this movie.
I'm just letting you know for those other 4.
Well, that's cool. I mean, as soon as they say something official, we'll cover them. So the characters in the movie. What did you guys think of the characters? I enjoyed what did you say, Jacob and Queenie. Actually, I think she was very fun. No, nobody else agrees
well,
to the characters.
I
here?
really enjoyed the characters in the movie. I disagree with you about Eddie Redmayne. I think he did a fantastic job in it. I really enjoyed him. And it's the same thing with the other characters. I thought that they were all portrayed really well. I found them very interesting. Even Graves I thought was done really well.
Mike, are you still there? You'll
Yeah, no, I'm definitely still here. I was looking through the casting page
Here,
of
I'll
Fantastic
find it for you.
Beasts,
You answer this question.
trying to figure out who these characters were. But
just describe them as you remember them, and we'll see if we can like pin the tail on them.
I mean, I think when I'm talking about the characters here, it's kind of weird when the Harry Potter universe that I'm used to seeing in the movies kind of comes over to America, because you're dealing with a totally different decade and a kind of a different culture. This is probably just the American in me saying this, but when I was watching the Harry Potter movies, everything seemed a little bit more extra magical just because everyone was speaking in British accents, which makes everyone always seems a little bit more fancy pants. So when we come to America and we see American wizards, I don't want to say some of the magic goes away, but it definitely feels a little different. So when we're kind of seeing these American characters, I kind of feel like almost like I'm a fish out of water. So it makes me feel a little different when I'm watching the movie. But I do like how they have kind of proven that they can expand the universe outside of these core characters that are in the book. So they're not necessarily inventing brand new characters, but some of them are brand new. I don't believe Colin Farrell's character
That's Graves.
Graves was in any sort of stories.
No,
beforehand.
he was definitely just written in for the script. He's not in Fantastic.
Yeah, so
Beasts or
he's definitely a new character, and he seemed pretty captivating from the scenes that he was in, and like I said before, the scenes that I was awake for. So I like the additions. Eddie Redmayne's obviously a powerhouse. He's an Oscar-nominated, Oscar-winning, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Actor. So I don't think there was necessarily any problem there with him. He seemed to take a more of an introverted take of his character. So he seemed to open up more when he was around his beasts and less so around people. I was just kind of more curious how these characters are going to get fleshed out in the future. I know that we're specifically talking about this movie, but obviously when you go to see these big movies nowadays, it's always talk about a big franchise, a big expanded universe. So the whole time I was kind of thinking, are we going to be seeing Eddie Redmayne again in the second movie? Who's going to be returning? Do these characters really get a finite end to their story? Eddie Redmayne kind of, I guess, at the end of the movie sailed off into the sunset, I guess you would say. So,
the British sunset.
Yeah, so I'm curious if we'll be seeing him again or not. But I think my favorite character in the movie was definitely the Ezra Miller's character.
That's Credence.
Credence's character. I really loved him as an origin story for a villain. I was kind of disappointed that he was dispatched so quickly at the end of the movie, just because I thought he had a really dark past. It's always good when you can kind of sympathize with the villain. He's mainly the bad guy because he was told he was kind of worthless and he couldn't be a part of the wizarding world, and he was basically abused by his foster mother. So I like the dark past of Credence there. But there's some other parts that I can talk about with Credence. But how did you guys feel about the characters on your side?
Rachel? Well, like I said, I like Queenie. I think her innocence, her childlike innocence, it reminds me of Mantis from that Guardians trailer we just saw today. Like, she can read minds. She doesn't know that there's like some lines that she can't cross just yet. I didn't care so much for Catherine Waterston's Tina. I don't know. I felt she was just trying too hard, and maybe for that one as well. But I do agree. I mean, Ezra Miller, as we'll know in The Flash, as we've seen The Flash, we will know in The Flash, I think he was very, very much, he did a great job showing the inner darkness. Like, I guess not an emo kid, but you know what I'm saying. Like, he's very, like, troubled
He was
home.
creepy.
Yeah.
He was creepy.
Very, and so he had that really bad haircut he committed to for that.
Yeah, that was bad.
It was very bad. And then, even then he was kind of like you didn't suspect it was him. You were supposed to think it was his little sister the whole time.
Yeah, Modesty. Modesty
Yeah.
was her name.
So it was definitely a twist to find out that it was him the whole time, and see, I guess, you did come to, I guess, feel compassion towards him and like his plight, and then he ended up being the bad person, but not because he wanted to just be bad.
Yeah. So this was one question that I wanted to ask to the group here, just because I don't know if this was the case just because I was under the weather when I saw this movie, but did the first half of this movie feel kind of slowly paced to anybody else? I just want to know if it felt like things were a little slow in the first half.
I enjoyed the pacing. I thought it was right. I didn't think it was too slow. I thought it was fitting.
Okay. What about you, Chris?
I don't know when the first half ended, actually. I can't distinguish half of the movie, so I would have to say the pacing didn't bother me.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. So,
I feel like it might depend on what storyline you look at. If you're looking at like Newt and Jacob, it goes quicker. But then if you're looking at the background building with Credence, that one does go slower, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that one definitely goes a little bit slower, but it didn't bother me that it went slower.
No.
But if you're like half asleep like Mike, he
Maybe
might
he
have only
only
seen
caught
that
the slow
one.
part.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
Mike is also
but-
slow, so that might
Yeah.
help.
That's true.
Aw, thanks,
That's true.
guys. I think Chris brought this up earlier, which is a point I think I really want to hit on. I think might bring up some good discussion. You talked specifically about the title of this movie, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. And I think it raises a lot of questions of what this movie was specifically supposed to be and how it's supposed to fit into this 5-movie, I guess not trilogy. What do we call these movies with
Quadrilogy?
Quadrilogies.
No, four.
Or I guess
Pentology.
Pentology, yeah.
Pentology. So this movie is definitely featured around these beasts, specifically when it comes to Eddie Redmayne. I saw some people online saying that he was a pretty good Pokemon trainer partway through this movie, throwing out beasts from his case, dispatching some enemies. So they're a central focus for the most part. But one thing that kind of got me was we open up this movie with this mysterious invisible creature that's kind of terrorizing New York City. that the heroes are really trying to get a handle on. Colin Farrell seems to mysteriously be tracking it down for maybe nefarious reasons. So the movie's kind of building up this invisible creature that we haven't seen for this whole time. And then at the end of the movie, it gets to reveal to not be a beast. It's not a beast. It's, I guess, in the form that we get to see it, it's more kind of like a Lost style smoke monster. I thought it looked cool and it was pretty terrorizing.
I think you may have missed in the beginning when they said this definitely wasn't a creature.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but I was really...
They said it a few times.
But I was really hoping this movie called Fantastic Beasts, you bring in a character like Newt, played by Eddie Redmayne, who his number one professional thing on his business card is he's a guy that knows his beasts. So I was kind of hoping his skills would really come in handy towards the end of the movie, which they did. He helped them, but I was kind of hoping he might know some secret stuff about this beast that maybe came to New York. So I guess that was just a decision that J.K. made, and I think it works well when we're going to talk about the movies in the long term, because they bring up these interesting ideas about what happens when you suppress your magic and things like that, and creating these evil, I guess they're not creatures, it's some sort of weird smoke monster. I don't know, I was kind of hoping just for something a little bit more concrete when it comes to, this movie is called Fantastic Beasts, is centered around these monsters. So it makes me wonder, what's going to happen in the second movie? Like, is it going to be called Fantastic Beasts with a different subtitle? Or are they going to completely kind of abandon that title, and it's just going to be kind of like what they're doing with Star Wars? This is kind of more like a Wizarding World Story #1. And then we're going to get Wizarding World Story #2, which doesn't really have anything to do with beasts. So I think that's kind of the bigger question that I want to raise is, how do we think the beasts were handled? Were they handled well?
I think that they were, because you had this entire other storyline and the beasts really fell into it. Granted, you fell asleep a lot, which is fine. So I think maybe that's why you feel like there's a big disconnect. I liked how they did it, because it wasn't like, oh, well, look at this. I discovered this. Oh, look, here's another one that I discovered. Oh, let me walk down the street. Look, another. The beasts became not the main focus, but they became a major player in the whole game, in general. The beasts are the reason that they were able to take down Credence. The beasts are, and all of the people there, the beasts are a huge part of the entire movie, and it's not painted in a way where he's going and he's discovering each of these. He's already discovered all of these creatures. These are all creatures nobody in America has pretty much ever seen. They don't know anything about them, which is why Newt is so integral to the storyline, because he's the only one who knows about them. He's the only one who knows how to catch them, how to handle them. He's the one who takes care of them. When he's down inside of his case, you see the large expanse that he's created with, I'm sure, an extendable charm, and creating... the different areas that all of these creatures live in, and he takes care of them. He protects them. He basically, his entire life is about them. The reason it's Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, he's the one who wrote the book, and I think if you called it something else, it wouldn't be fitting. I like.
I'm gonna go on the other side. I think the beasts are tangential to the story, and by calling it Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, you have a very long title that we've just shortened it to Fantastic Beasts at this point. And that would be I think that might even be even better, but we never show where to find them. Like, he loses, 3 out of his case? Isn't that right?
I think it was 5.
But more come out later.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's not really... The only reason the beasts are out is because somebody opened the case on accident, Jacob, and then he has to find them, but, the whole point is this Obscurial, and... or I guess Obscurious, because it was a male one, right? Isn't that right? I think I learned that when I listened to another podcast. But he had an Obscurious or Obscurial, whichever one, in his case, but he didn't use any.
It's not a beast.
Well, he had one in his case, though. So is it a beast or is it not a beast?
It's not a beast.
So he's keeping a person in his case.
Well, he's keeping it to be so it can be studied. So because what happens is when you suppress your magic so much when you're forced to, it creates an Obscurious. So the whole point in keeping one is that nobody's ever been able to keep one, and he was able to remove this one out of a little girl in Africa. So he kept it so he could study it, so that way they could understand more, because there's so many questions that haven't been answered about it. It's one of those things that he just has nobody in the magic world has any answers about, really, because they destroy everything, like when they basically explode out like they did out of Credence.
And I get that, and I think it's a good thing that basically J.K. Rowling invented, since she was the one that penned the script. She's the one that is basically authorized to create this brand new stuff in the Wizarding World. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's a really cool concept. But I just to me, when I think I'm going to go see a movie called Fantastic Beasts, like, this is one thing that Chris brought up a lot when it came to watching the early trailers for the movie, is we kept getting all these trailers without any beasts in them. And I think some people might have a problem with, like, when they come see this movie, they want it to be just fantastically full of beasts.
Didn't they have at least one in the?
Well,
I think they had the Niffler
in the later trailers. We did get more beasts, but in, like, the first trailer that we talked about on the show, they were critically missing beasts, as Chris reminded us week by week. So yeah, it does kind of make me wonder. It's just like, I have, like, no problem with more Harry Potter movies or Wizarding World movies, but, like, it makes me think, maybe was there just kind of maybe a critical error when it came to just calling this movie Fantastic Beasts? Or maybe they just seem to have kind of a different goal in mind. I think what Chris said fits well when you said that storyline was very tangential to the major arching storyline, which was Grindelwald. I mean, that was where the big reveal happened. They were hiding his identity the whole movie.
Have you thought about if they changed the title of it, and then let's say they got rid of the beasts, you don't have a storyline at all?
Well, I'm not saying get rid of the beasts. I'm just saying, like, it just feels like the focus of the movie ultimately was on the reveal of Grindelwald and expanding the universe, and it didn't really feel much like we got a Fantastic Beast movie. Like, when I was thinking about this movie in my head, from the point of view of not a book reader, since you ladies know everything about this, but from a point of view of just kind of knowing most of the stuff based on the movies, I was kind of expecting kind of a crazy kind of adventure of finding a bunch of different beasts, and we did just kind of get a handful of them, but the ones we got were good. I liked that little creature that was
the Bowtruckle
that was eating the shiny things and money. I thought
that was the Niffler.
I thought that was hilarious. There's a scene in the movie where they one of the many times they catch him, he's kind of lounging down in almost like a box of money or something, and it reminded me of that image that floats around the internet of, like, that possum that gets caught in a box of donuts, and it's captioned, do what you will with me, for I've already won. So I thought that worked out well. So I mean, I'm definitely not trying to shit on this movie at all. It was definitely a fun time, and I was very much awake for the last kind of climactic part of the movie. So I wasn't asleep through the whole thing as it might sound, but it does seem like maybe the movie could have used a little bit more of a focus. I think it's going to expand into a pretty good 5 set of movies, and then my theory is a couple years after that 5th movie, we're going to get something, another trilogy, just because Warner Brothers is going to be mining this forever. But yeah, I think maybe it could have been a little bit more focused.
The title to me makes me think I'm getting a Steve Irwin style movie. From again a non, if I didn't know that, if all I know was Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them was this book on fantastical beasts in the magical world from the things, and not knowing much else about it, I'm like, all right, we've got this magical Steve Irwin, and he's gonna go hunt him some magical crocodiles.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, I don't hate the movie. I just, as a I don't live Harry Potter. To me, it just comes off as like fan. above average.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think it's good. Did you guys? I mean, we've talked about this several times. This is leading into 4 more movies. Do you think this sets up enough for four more movies?
Because I know so much about these books, I think it was a great setup for what's to come. I really do. I know I kind of wish they would have had just a hair more of Grindelwald in it, because you really only saw him for a split second at the beginning, and then, a split second there at the end, and you didn't really see him again. But knowing what's to come, I think it was a good setup. I wish there was a little bit more. I do wish there was a little bit more because of everything that's to come. But I think it was a very good introduction into it.
Yeah. What about you, Rachel, over there? You've been quiet over there. We want to know what's going on in that brain of yours.
Yeah, I agree. I think coming from if you were a book reader and a movie watcher and you already know all of the background to it, you know that they have more than enough that they can use to expand on for these next movies. But looking at an outsider's view, I think I can see how people would be like, well, how in the world are they going to do 4 more movies? But if you've had the information, you know that there's so much extra like backstories that they can pull and kind of create this different world, especially now that they've introduced the idea of like magic being different and structures being different on different countries or continents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think, go ahead.
Well, I think that was the most exciting part for me is, how magic is treated across continents, essentially. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to see more of that as well. Because they talked about, a big thing beforehand was the American houses of magic. Uh-huh. And I think it felt like a throwaway line in the movie, but like, what are the schools of magic in America and the houses you could be sorted into? Again, I don't think we need to go do the kids thing. I think the Harry Potter movies built us up to this point where we don't have to hear people saying their spells when they cast them. They can just do it. We know what's going on. But do you think the next movie will be more based in America? Are they going to keep Grindelwald imprisoned in America, or are we going back to England?
I think it'll at least start, and maybe about at least the first half of the movie will definitely be within America and their magical prisons there, and maybe you'll see what's going on there. You'll probably see him escape. But I think it's not going to go back to England. I think it'll probably jump over to like Germany or somewhere, because Grindelwald wasn't in England, if I remember right. He was in Europe somewhere. And if I remember right, it was somewhere in I want to say Germany, but I don't know why.
Well, let's hope that doesn't pop up in your quiz.
Well, I mean, my understanding is that they're leading up to the Wizarding War, which parallels World War II. Like the timelines go along with that. So I was just curious. I mean, 4 more movies. I could definitely see them getting that into 3 or 2 movies even. But 4 more. I don't want them to drag something out because I don't trust Warner Brothers. I trust the Harry Potter people, but Warner Brothers is on shaky ground.
Well, I think we find ourselves in a unique situation where, you could look at a warning signs of maybe when you're talking about something like The Hobbit. You're taking one small book and you're expanding it into a trilogy, which many people said never should have happened. A lot of stuff was stretched out, just very every movie needed a big action set piece.
Those Hobbit movies were perfect, Mike. Don't you tell me I'm kidding.
So, but we're in a unique situation where, J.R.R. Tolkien's not alive anymore. He can't just pen the scripts for these movies. But J.K. Rowling can write whatever the hell she wants. Mm-hmm. She could technically make this. She could make 8 more movies out of this if she wanted to, because she literally is going to write the lore. She's writing the canon. So I'm not really too worried about them not having enough stuff. I just kind of want them to kind of fall into a solid direction. With these other Harry Potter movies, we were very much focused on Harry's story through that whole arc of the movies. And, in the books too, we were connected to his character and following him through his journey. But it doesn't feel like we're going to be following Newt Scamander through 5 movies. It feels like we're going to be picking up with brand new characters in this next movie. So I'm just curious who I'm supposed to be anchored to, who I'm supposed to be caring about. Because obviously, if Grindelwald is going to be the guy who's carrying through all these movies, I don't care about him. He's the bad guy. Dumbledore is going to be showing up, but he wasn't in this first movie. So we know everything about Dumbledore already from these older movies.
No, you don't.
Well, not all the inner machinations of Dumbledore, but we know where he's ultimately going to end up. So I'm just kind of curious who we're supposed to be attached to and how this set of 5 movies is going to be laid out. I think that's the biggest question I have in my head. I think I can trust J.K. I can trust any new directors that they might bring in. I think Warner Brothers needs to be careful because what's their other moneymaker? It's the DC Universe, which is very shaky right now. So this is the one franchise that they know is going to sell tickets and is critically very well accepted. Mm-hmm. So I think this movie raises a lot more questions. I definitely am looking forward to seeing it again. when I am awake for it. So I'm going to see it again, and then if you guys out there subscribe to the podcast, I'll make sure to give you guys my second fully awake opinion on the movie when I get.
We'll talk it over when it lands.
Yeah, when it lands.
Yeah. Yeah, other than that, I don't really have, unless you ladies want to, chime in with something else. I mean, it's a dark movie. I don't know if I'd suggest many people take their kids to watch it. I don't know how you guys would feel about that. Under like 5 and under, like, might be terrified.
I mean, there's literally capital punishment. There is the death penalty almost given in this movie, which is kind of striking. When we were on the way home from the movie, Andy said it was a pretty creative way to murder somebody, but you were always thinking about creative ways to kill people.
I am. I don't know why.
Which is very creepy. I guess if I go missing, this is suspect number 1 right here.
Yeah, definitely.
But
sure. Check the mountains.
Showing somebody a happy memory basically before you dissolve them in acid. I think
You're not dissolving them in acid. It's not acid.
But you saw like they.
Okay, but it's not acid.
The thing that
Mike only thinks it was acid because he wasn't paying attention.
It's
because he doesn't
magical
know
acid.
It's kind of an ingenious way to do it though, because what you're doing is did you see what they did? They took the fear out of her.
It is ingenious, but you saw the chair. The chair dissolves in the black goo.
But it's and I hate to say this because I'm so much not for the death penalty, but it's almost a humane way to do it because they take out that fear from them.
Okay. So
they take out the fear, and what they do is they make them say, "Oh my gosh, look at all of your happiest memories. Don't you want to walk towards them?" So
there's a little bit of humanity in it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it's not like, oh hey, by the way, here's a wet sponge on your head. Let's put this metal bucket on there. Let's run some wires into it and have fun.
But what would have happened if it would have worked? Is this how they kill people? Do they just put them in
America?
A goo?
Apparently,
there's no body left to be buried. Do they not get the right to get buried?
I wouldn't really.
I think it's just the government treating people who have been convicted and no longer get their rights anymore. I don't think that's like standard procedure for everybody in America.
That's some dark stuff.
Definitely not.
Man,
what
we
was
kill our
interesting-
people pretty
and
rad
Rachel,
over here in America,
I don't know if you thought the same thing, but the black whatever it was.
Black goo.
Okay,
I think that's in the,
Mike's black goo.
I think that's what J.K. wrote in the script. The black goo.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure she stole the idea from Roger Rabbit with the dip machine. So that's exactly where it came from.
But yes, the black goo.
I was curious, Rachel, if you noticed it had kind of it reminded me of the curtain in the archway.
Don't get me started on that curtain.
Oh, where it kind of had a life to it, and there were like the souls in there. Yeah.
It reminded me of the curtain and how it looked and how it moved and how it.
I thought it was going to be the room with the American version of that, where they just push them
the
through.
American curtain.
Yeah,
or is it just a torn
like, hey,
flag?
Is it like the United States flag that they just push them through and then they're gone?
Pretty much. Like,
And you're done.
Hey, look
That's
over
the
there. Shove right through. Now you're dead. Can't come back.
That's one of. I mean, there's kind of two things I've brought up with the future of these movies that I've talked about with Andy. As I thought it'll be a cool way to maybe answer some questions that have been left unanswered in the Harry Potter universe. Where I thought it would be kind of cool to maybe explore the origins of the Dementors somehow. Maybe we get to see like their birthplace or how they're made or how they're created. That might be kind of a fun Easter egg of like, oh, this is something that the viewer is familiar with seeing before. So if we kind of get to see where they come from.
There were a few Easter eggs throughout Fantastic Beasts. I don't know if you noticed any of them.
Well, lay some Easter eggs.
I don't know if
on
those
us.
were Easter eggs. Those were a different kind of egg. They were made of silver.
Apparently they're worth money because you can open up a bakery with
They're
them.
made of silver.
They're Akame. Akame
they're
eggshells.
Okay, gotcha.
They're made of silver, so of course they're worth money. No, but I don't know if you guys noticed, but when Newt was down inside of his case with Jacob, I don't even know if that's really his name, but that's what he called him.
It is Jacob.
Okay.
Kowalski.
Okay, so when he's down there with Jacob and he's like introducing him to all these creatures and stuff, and he picks up this bucket and you see like a little shed behind him. They had made a Deathly Hallows symbol on that shed.
Yes, I did notice the Deathly Hallows symbol showing up.
Yeah, and it showed up in quite a few places. I mean, like, they had, like, the necklace and stuff, obviously, but, like, it just, every now and again, I noticed it was somewhere, which I loved. I loved that kind of stuff. You know, like, Pixar does that with all their movies where they have, like, little bits and pieces.
Well, and also I think that's to improve, or to further the Grindelwald story, because that was his symbol.
For sure.
I mean, that's why
Well, I
Luna's
mean,
Dad got mad at Harry when he had it on there because he like freaked out and thought it was Grindelwald supporter still.
no. Luna's dad was wearing the symbol at the wedding.
Oh yes, that's
It's
right.
it's just the Deathly Hallows symbol is what it is. It's just
Yeah.
Grindelwald.
I'm getting excited for this quiz.
Grindelwald is the one who started using it, but the problem is
Yes.
that Grindelwald then kind of went south in his views of things, and so then it kind of became instead of just being about the Deathly Hallows, it kind of became this like terror-filled symbol. So I mean, it just
All
I don't know.
right.
So it's just interesting to see it pop up throughout the movie.
You heard it here. Grindelwald is gay wizard Hitler for the next few
Gay
movies. So
wizard.
You
Hitler.
only heard that from Chris. Let's
Yep.
clarify.
Yeah, only from Chris.
that's
All right,
cool.
so I think that's maybe the best way to go out on our discussion of the movie is gay wizard Hitler, because I want to get into this quiz here that we're gonna pit our two Harry Potter experts against
I'm
each
so
other.
nervous now. Like, my
And
armpits are
hopefully
getting
we'll
sweaty.
bring you ladies back when more Fantastic Beasts movies come out, whatever they end up being called, whoever ends up being in them, and we'll continue our quiz. And there's going to be 5 movies, so best of 5 quizzes overall over the next
Oh,
years.
man.
We'll see how this goes. Maybe
this
we'll
guy
create
is so
some sort of-
clever. Let me tell you what.
we'll create some sort of penultimate prize for all of this. So I have
Super hard
I
Harry
I
Potter
have
quiz? Oh, God.
very expertly Googled the words "super hard Harry Potter quiz."
Andy's not looking at the answers right now with you, is she?
Well, the thing is, this is an online quiz format. So once I have been given the answer from one of the ladies, I will click the multiple choice question, and then I will be alerted straight away whether the question is right or wrong. So Andy can indeed see the screen, but that is not giving her any sort of edge. So I do not have a coin. I don't know if anybody has a coin right now.
I have 4 of them right in front of me. What do you need?
All
They're
right.
Pokemon coins.
don't
All right.
judge me.
All right, so I think since Andy has been technically been talking the most smack about the quiz,
I didn't talk any smack. I just said I'm excited.
I'm just building it up to make it more exciting than it may or may not be. So let's.
No matter what, Rachel and I still know more than you and Chris combined.
Yes, that's,
And that's
true.
what
So I
matters.
think let's.
Oh, we
give
lost. Game over. Go home, Mike.
Let's give Rachel the guess there on the coin flip to see who goes first.
Heads or tails, dear?
Heads.
It is heads.
It is heads. What wasn't a Pokemon? What Pokemon head was it?
It was a Chansey.
It was a Chansey. Okay, so Rachel, you can decide whether you want to go first or second. It doesn't. I guess it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter.
Go first.
Okay, go first.
All right, so I am scrolling down to the first question right now. It is, what is the correct order of the Marauders on the Marauders map? So you have 4 options here. Andy is waving her hands in the air, so I have a feeling she knows it.
I do.
So, A, Prongs, Wormtail, Mooney, and Padfoot. B, Mooney, Wormtail, Padfoot, and Prongs. C, Padfoot, Mooney, Wormtail, and Prongs. And D, Wormtail, Mooney, Prongs, and Padfoot. I hope you remembered all of those because there's lots of lists.
She's working on it. I'm watching.
Okay, she's mulling over in her head.
Okay. Can you
Okay.
repeat A through C? I know it's not D.
Oh, okay, so we have Prongs, Wormtail, Mooney, and Padfoot. Mooney, Wormtail, Padfoot, and Prongs. Padfoot, Mooney, Wormtail, and Prongs. And then Wormtail, Mooney, Prongs, and Padfoot.
B.
B.
As in boy.
Okay. B as in Mooney, Wormtail, Padfoot, and Prongs. We are going to enter in to my very high-tech quiz. And it is correct. It has turned green, Rachel. You have 1 point on the board.
You would not be a good game show host, Mike, but
1
continue.
point.
He only says that because we've been watching Family Feud for like the past 3
You're no
days.
Steve Harvey.
It's all right. Steve Harvey is kind of a crazy man, so.
Yeah, he is.
All right, Andy. Your first question is, what do cats do to Hagrid? Do they make him sneeze? Do they cause him pain? Do they make him angry? Or do they make him laugh?
Sneeze.
Okay, Andy is saying cats make Hagrid sneeze. Let's enter in your answer.
This one I really don't know for sure.
It is correct. It has turned green.
I was
We
like,
have
it's
a
definitely
tied
not
game.
pain.
He's
1-1.
so mad. He's so mad at cats.
Oh God, this cat!
Okay,
I hate you, cat.
All right, so we'll scroll down.
Oh,
to
McGonagall.
Our next question here, Rachel. What is Luna Lovegood's corporeal Patronus? It is a cat. Is it a finch? Is it a hare? Or is it a dog?
It's a hare.
Yes. It is a hare. We will. Andy is saying you got it right, but she is not the decider here.
But I know that that's right.
All right, well, let's enter in your question. Hare. It is green. You are right, Rachel. Congratulations.
Luna is my absolute favorite character.
Luna is one of the pop vinyls Rachel has. So
she was my Halloween costume last year.
Nice.
I do like Luna as well. All right, let's move on to our next question for Andy.
Neville's hotter.
Ew.
What piece of advice does Ron give to Harry when Harry asks if he can't cast a spell while dueling Malfoy? Does he say, throw it away and punch him in the nose, create a diversion and trip him, run away quickly, or throw something at him? What does Ron tell Harry to do when he's dueling Malfoy?
I believe it's the first one. Throw it away and punch him in the nose.
So you were saying throw it away and punch him in the nose. Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
All right, let's lock it in. It is correct. It is green. Congratulations.
I was like, it's either that one or it's throw something. I was like, but I'm pretty sure it's throw and punch him.
I didn't know that one. I can tell you for sure I didn't know that one. All right, scroll down to the next one. Rachel, what subject did Professor Quirrell teach before he taught Defense Against the Dark Arts? We have divination, ancient runes, alchemy, or Muggle studies.
I believe it's ancient runes.
Ancient runes. Is that your final answer?
Yes.
All right, let's lock it in here. It has turned red.
Oh no.
That is wrong. It is indeed a Muggle studies.
Oh, that was my backup.
That's okay.
I am so sorry.
I had that one wrong too.
Rachel. All right. Well, at least you know.
I just said potions, and that's not even on there.
This would be even harder if we didn't have multiple choices here.
It would be.
All right. So we're going to go on the next one here.
Oh, he's so
Andy. We are seeing a picture of Neville Longbottom.
Told you.
All right. What witch did Neville Longbottom marry? Did he marry Luna Lovegood, Penelope Clearwater?
Oh, this is wrong. These answers are wrong.
Pansy Parkinson or Hannah Abbott? Okay, well, why are you
saying...
actually,
no, it's not wrong.
Oh.
It's Hannah Abbott. I was thinking of Luna, sorry.
All right.
Not Luna, as in Luna, who she ended up marrying.
I mean, I wasn't going to say you're wrong. I mean, you are spell checking these books. So you're saying Hannah Abbott.
Yes.
All right, final answer. You are correct. Who is Hannah Abbott?
Hannah Abbott is one of their classmates.
She had a twin sister, Hannah Costello.
I don't know if that's a joke or not.
It's Chris. It's always a joke.
Okay,
I didn't hear what he
gotcha.
say. What did he say?
So we are going on to the next question. This is for Rachel. This is question number 4. So, Rachel, I think you got to start crossing your fingers and hoping Andy gets one wrong. So, number 7 on this list here. What does NEWTS stand for? Is it, this is only 3 you have to pick from. Is it nearly everything wizarding tests, normally easy wizarding tests, or nastily? Is that nastily? Nastily exhausting wizarding wizard test. So you're going with number 3.
Yes.
All right. I'm just gonna go ahead and assume you got that right as it's turned green. Congratulations, Rachel.
As it has turned green.
That is as turned green. We'll scroll on to the next one. This one is for Andy. What form
A beetle.
does Rita Skeeter take as an Animagus?
A beetle, and she's unregistered.
All right. A beetle, a squirrel, a bird, or a snake. You're saying a beetle. We'll lock it in, and it is right. You seemed very, very confident.
Yeah, and she's unregistered.
All right.
All Animagus are supposed to be registered, and she is not.
So we are going to go on to the last question for Rachel. Number 9 on our list here.
This is a really hard one. This isn't even about the books, though.
From playbuzz.com. All right. Well, I mean, I
say give her a different one.
All right. The question was about how many languages the Harry Potter book has been translated into. I think that's safe to move past. We're strictly here talking about canon of story here. So we'll move on to the next one here for Rachel.
What's the answer?
Oh, let's find out.
92.
It's either 92, 45, 39, or 67.
92.
92. It is not 92. It is 67.
Yeah.
I just picked a number.
Okay, so Rachel, your real question here. Which of these ingredients is not used in a polyjuice potion? Is it powdered unicorn horn? Is it leeches? Is it lacewing flies, or is it powdered
Lacewing.
lacewing flies, or is it powdered bicorn horn?
Leeches.
Leeches. You are saying leeches are not in the Polyjuice potion, correct?
Yes.
All right, we'll lock it in here. Ooh, wrong. It is powdered unicorn horn. Got that wrong.
I was
right?
gonna say, don't they drink unicorn blood? Aren't like unicorns sacred?
I don't know.
Unicorns are sacred, but their horns are still used for
Yes.
certain recipes,
You
but
just
not very
can't kill
often.
him.
Listen, I don't know what freaky shit's going on over there at Hogwarts, but we're going to scroll on to our last question for Andy here. And we have, what did Harry carve into a rock? and place on Dobby's grave. Sorry, I'm getting really thrown off by this screenshot of Dobby with his death stare looking right at me. So what did Harry carve into a rock and place on Dobby's grave? Was it Here Lies Dobby, a free elf?
Yes.
Here lies Dobby, an elf I freed. Here lies a free elf, Dobby was a great elf. So you're going with...
Here lies Dobby, a free elf.
All right, let's block it in. You got it right. Yes. So that is the end of our normal round. Surprise, surprise. This was not the end of the quiz, ladies. I had to leave a little bit of surprise here. So we are going to go into Final Jeopardy style here.
All the points.
Of the Harry Potter quiz. So Rachel, you have in your bank right now 3 points. You have 3 points to bet. Andy, you have 5, so you have 5 points to bet. So you can choose to bet as many points as you wish. If you get it wrong, Jeopardy style will ensue and you will lose those points. So we're going to scroll on to one final questions. You ladies will write your questions down in your brain. Basically, you're going to whisper it to the very handsome
The
man
answers,
next to you.
not the questions.
Yeah. You're gonna give your answers to us and Chris, and we will say
Us and Chris.
yes, us as in me and Chris over there on the other.
We've been recording too long for Mike to be coherent.
We have been
at this
recording
point.
for a long time,
Mike
so
is
let's
my
wrap up
English
this
teacher,
game. We're gonna scroll on to the last question
really
here.
funny.
Okay, let's do this.
And-
We're ready. We have
All
it.
right.
We're writing it down on paper over here. I don't want
So-
to cheat.
For all the marbles here, and for the points
Wait,
that
are
you're
we telling you what we were wagering?
Write it
yes.
down. We have ours
Once-
written down.
All right, how many points are you wagering? You're wagering all 5 points. Rachel, what are you wagering over there?
All 3 points.
All right, I definitely saw that coming. So our final question: what fruit must you tickle? Oh my God! in order to gain access to the Hogwarts kitchen.
I know this one.
So I'm gonna give you ladies the multiple choice answers.
I don't know.
So it is either banana, pear, kiwi, or apple.
Done.
Banana, pear. All right, we seem very confident into what fruit you tickle, which is bizarre to get into this kitchen. So I'm going to remove my earbuds.
Are you
so
getting your
can-
banana tickled over there, Mike?
Can whisper. So whisper your answer. All right. So Andy has locked in her answer.
We heard her answer. We agree.
Okay. So I'll go ahead and
Well,
put
it
the
was, like,
cards
right in
out on
front
the
of the
table.
microphone.
Yeah, it was.
pear.
So Andy has locked in pear. What about you, Rachel?
Pear as well.
We have written it down before you
it's
even
pear.
got to the questions or
All
answers.
right.
the
So
pear.
I think this is going to be very.
The Weasley twins tell them that.
I think this is going to be very anticlimactic. I wish this was maybe something a little bit more exciting. So we're locking in pear. Congratulations, ladies. You are both right.
Everybody wins except me and Mike.
You have definitely showed your stuff, and you may have not gotten every answer right, but me and Chris probably would have gotten every answer wrong. So there you go.
I probably would have.
quiz.
The only one I would have gotten right is the one he skipped, and that would have just been on the pure guess.
All right, so that is one quiz down the hole. We may have 4 in our future since we have 4 more of these movies coming. But that is it for the spoiler cast for Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them with a quiz in there. Did you ladies have a good time?
I had a good time.
All
Yes,
right.
it was wonderful.
That's what I like to hear.
Okay, is that it? Is that how you end? Like, I don't know when you're ending them
That's
today.
what I
You
like
are
to
all
see.
over the
It's a-
place.
It is a little hard to throw it away to your co-host when there is 4 people on this microphone. So
Okay, well,
Chris, take it away.
wife, would you like to plug any of your things for people to follow you, or do you just want to be left alone?
I want to be left alone.
She wants to
I'm
be
a
left
teacher.
alone.
I have to be locked down tight.
There we go.
All right.
She's a teacher. You can't share anything, but you can find me on Twitter at Valdan, VALDAN, Comic UI, and Filmside Chats. Back to you folks on the West Coast.
All right, here on the West Coast, Andy, if people wanted to follow you online, possibly Twitter might be the best place. Where can
Twitter, you can find me on Twitter at Andy Fine, ANDIFINE. You can find me on Instagram at Andy Royer TV, or on Facebook under Andy Royer.
All right. So if you want to connect with my wife, be very careful. Who's out there trying to connect with my wife? But if you want to follow me, you can follow me at Mike. You can follow me at Mike Royer Design on Twitter and Instagram, and you can read my webcomics at pickledcomics.com. Chris, we got another show under our belt.
Yes, we do. Thank you, ladies, for coming and talking this movie over with us. Even if we all don't agree, it's the best movie ever. So
You're entitled to be wrong, so it's fine.
oh. Fighting words, but no, that's fine. Thank you again. We appreciate it. Another spoiler cast in the belts, and thank you, ladies, for putting up with us as we record our regular shows on the weekly. So we couldn't do this without your approval, right? No, but yeah, that's it, Mike. We have other shows. We have other things we do. We just did a regular show right before this. We have a Rogue One spoiler cast in the pipeline. If people want to listen to that, where can they find us at?
Well, you can always find us on superheroslate.com. That is the best place to find all the avenues we host the show, like iTunes, YouTube, Google Play Music, SoundCloud. God, I need some water. Stitcher, Tumblr. Get us, subscribe, write us on email. No, we're all out of water. I've already been staring at those.
All right, I got this. I'll finish it up. You can like us on Facebook. You can even follow us on Twitter. And if you're a super fan of the show, share the show with a friend. It's honestly the best Christmas gift they'll ever get.
Yeah, that's right. And we will be here every week. And for all of the awesome movies, we'll be spoiler casting for you. So give us a subscribe and stay tuned next week for our 100th news episode of Superhero Slate.
Yay! Triple digits.
Yay!
All right, goodbye, everybody. I'm thirsty.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.
That's supposed to be a Yeti?
Yeah, it looks more like a robot, honestly.
It looks like a robot potato.